So whether it has been a week or a month or several years or even a decade, give yourself grace and just allow yourself to come back once again. No questions asked. Like open arms, unconditional love. Just love for yourself and love for your voice and love for your art. It's never too late, and you're never too far gone to start over, to begin again, to come back home to the music in your heart. In today's episode, we're going to establish a path to move you out of a creative dry season and back into the flow of creative revival. So if you're ready to breathe new life into your creative practice, here are 3 steps to help you sing with renewed inspiration. Welcome to Reawaken Your Voice. Are you tired of pushing aside your desire to sing, only for it to resurface again and again? Hey, I'm Lainey, voice and creativity coach, singer and songwriter. If you're ready to rediscover the freedom of creative expression, free from judgment, doubt, comparison, and fear, then grab that notebook full of ideas. It's time to give voice to the songs in your heart. Let's sing. Hey friend, before we get started, I just want to take a moment to invite you to join my email list. This is where you'll get my latest podcast episode every week, updates on the exciting things I have in store for this growing creative space. And not to mention, you'll get access to my free voice workshop. This will help you reconnect with your voice and reignite that creative spark, all in the comfort of your home, in your own time and space. For instant access delivered straight to your inbox, head to reawakenyourvoice.com/workshop. As I record this, I am now in week 34 of my pregnancy. So I'm in the final stretch, y'all. This is like 6-ish weeks to go. Could be sooner, probably not longer. And over the past week, I've just been exhausted. I have felt so depleted and drained, and I'm slowing down big time. And I found myself passing on my morning writing time in favor of laying in bed just a little bit longer. And I felt myself drifting away from my creative practice, taking naps rather than working on my songs. And it's just been a week of really low energy, no motivation, and losing focus on my creative projects. So this topic came to me not only as something that I needed to revisit yet again in my life, but also something that I could bring to you and guide you through as I walked through it myself. Because this isn't the first time. This ain't my first rodeo, okay? And this was just a week of a creative dry spell, okay? And you could argue that I have an excuse. But there have been times where that dry season lasted for years. This podcast was born from such a time. And from the pain that ensued with that distance from my voice, from my art, from, the things that keep me feeling alive and feeling the fullness of who I am and the expression, the creativity that lives inside of me and is meant to be carried out into the world. all this to say that, these dry seasons, they can be short, they can be really long, really extended, really drawn out. And I know that it seems like the further you get away from it, the harder it is to come back to it. So whether it has been a week or a month or several years or even a decade, give yourself grace and just allow yourself to come back once again. No questions asked, like open arms, unconditional love, just love for yourself and love for your voice and love for your art. It's never too late, and you're never too far gone to start over, to begin again, to come back home to the music in your heart. So we're going to walk through the 3 steps I take when I find myself in a creative dry season. When I'm not feeling particularly inspired or motivated to sing or make music or create. These are the 3 steps I take. So put these in your back pocket and pull them out when you need them, because as an artist, this is part of the journey. And, it comes back because this is life and we're humans and it's messy, right? This beautiful mess. But know that it's okay. And you have these tools now. After I go through these, at the end of this episode, you'll have these tools to, make them your own over time. And each time, maybe it'll feel a little bit easier, a little bit smoother of a transition back into that vibrant state of creativity and flow. Here is my step-by-step guide to tap into creative flow, replenish your well of inspiration, and get back to that luscious, creative place of singing and creating and making music again. Step 1, lean into the dry season. This is an acknowledgement of where you are, and just being real about the emotional side of it. Bring it to the surface, shed light on the reality of where you are. And we need to be honest with ourselves. We need to be truthful about this dry season, what it feels like, what our emotional state is. Just look it in the face and say, okay, this is where I am. We need to do this because in order to make art that connects, we must be truthful. We must be honest with ourselves. And we have to be willing to stare truth in the face so that it can be reflected in our music, in our songs, in our creations. That is the seed that creates the fruit. So acknowledge it. Be honest with yourself, and don't be afraid to look at it. And a way that you can do this is to journal. Write it out. Put words to the feelings of being depleted. We all have our own voice, our own way of connecting with ourselves and our inner voice. So let that come through in your journaling. And dig down into the truth of the root of it. Step 2, replenish. Pour into yourself your creative spirit. To pour into your art, you must yourself be filled up. It's almost cliche, like, oh, you can't pour from an empty cup. We know this. Put your oxygen mask on first. All these things we hear over and over again. Yes, okay, we know. But think about the energy, the emotion, the passion, everything that you pour into your art. If you have nothing in there to give, that's where you feel dry. That's where you feel depleted. So you must pour into yourself. And you need to know what pouring into yourself looks like for you. So how do you pour into yourself? Well, you need to create your own customized, ongoing artist's toolkit of these things that light you up, things you know will get the creative juices flowing, things that inspire you, things that make you feel alive. And it's different for everyone. So this is part of the journey of self-exploration and discovery. You know, what is it for you? Is it being out in nature? Is it listening to music of a certain kind? Maybe it's another art form. I know for me, photography can be so inspiring, especially when I'm traveling, because I'm seeing all these new sights and experiencing all these new things and just seeing beauty in a different way through another art form. Fill in your own idea with what other art form can kind of spark that creativity in you. Maybe it's prayer. Do you need a spa day? Like, just relax and let it all go and be pampered. Is it talking to a friend? You know, that friend who just gets you. Or maybe you want to clean and organize your creative space, and that's kind of like a reset for you. What about going on a drive through some country roads while listening to music and, you know, choosing turn by turn based on curiosity alone? Maybe for you it's reading a book. Little ideas to get something sparked in you, because it'll be different for everyone. And that's the point. We're creating our own unique artist's toolkit. Like, this is what we go to when we need that replenishment. Is replenishment a word? I think so. Set aside time for this. This is much like Julia Cameron's artist date, right? You're setting aside intentional time to spend filling your creative well, as she calls it, giving back to yourself what you so freely give to others, the time and the energy. Creativity needs those things to really flourish. Step 3, create. Create a plan, create time and space, and create something. Now, you may have sparked something during your Replenish adventure. You know, there may have been a small whisper of an idea or curiosity or a nudge or an inkling of a vision for what you'd like to create. It could be a song. It could be an action, like a next step for a creative project that you're working on. Or you may still feel lost. And that's okay. What we need to do is build the muscle to move past this feeling of, I have nothing to say, I have no motivation, I am feeling lost here, like there's nothing there. We need to move past that feeling to creating anyway. This is why I say create something. This doesn't have to be your masterpiece. Create something. Get those gears moving and get to creating. Create anyway. Stop waiting for inspiration. So often we feel like, okay, I need to be inspired. I need to feel like it for it to really light on fire and to create something of substance, I need to feel inspired first. You are an artist. So you need to stop waiting for that inspiration and do the work of an artist, because it oftentimes is that inspiration shows up in the work itself. Like in the creative process of just opening your mouth to sing, sitting down with your guitar and a pen, taking a seat at the piano bench. And if nothing of substance comes out, so what? You showed up. You said, I'm here. Use me as a vessel. I'm willing. And then you're going to do that again and again. So you're going for quantity because it's not all going to be quality. That's the truth. But in the creating, in the process, we're refining our art, we're honing our craft, and we're doing the work of an artist. We are in it. We are getting our hands dirty and using our gifts. And in that process, we are getting ever closer to that beautiful song that we think, where did that come from? And sure, it came from a spark of inspiration, but it also came from the hours of devotion that you've poured into your craft, into your art, into developing your voice and connecting with that creativity inside of you over and over again. So this is where the plan comes back into place. Remember, I said create a plan. So this is a plan for regular practice time. So it can look like a time block. And yes, this can also include the sprinkling and weaving into the cracks of your day, these little spurts of creative play, whatever that looks like. But it also requires that devoted, dedicated time. This can be daily writing, even 1 page, 10 minutes in the morning. Daily singing, even 10 minutes, 5 minutes of improvisation or vocalizing in the shower. Start small. That can expand over time and it can ebb and flow with your days and, the season of life you're in and your schedule. But it needs to be part of your life, part of what you do. This is just what you do because this is who you are. And when you fall off the wagon, so to speak, just get back on. No need for drama. Oh, as artists, we can be so good at that. But no need to make it mean something or create all this emotional drama around it. Just see it. Okay, here we are. Let's get back on. Let's get moving again. Create a plan that works for you. That's really the key here. Whatever works for you and your lifestyle in this season of life. Be realistic. This is where I am with being 34 weeks pregnant. I'm about to give birth and have a new life in this family, in this home, and my life will never be the same. But that season will turn into the next season and the next and the next. And so we just have to kind of roll with it, flow with it, and always be working it into the fabric of our day. And it will look different from day to day, from season to season. So yes, be realistic, but also be generous with yourself in giving your time to your creative work. So you see the common thread here. All of these things, they require intention and presence and time. So make time for your creativity. It's a relationship. And to maintain relationships, we need to spend time with the person. Connect with them. Be in conversation with them. The same goes with your relationship to your voice, your music, your creativity. So first, step 1, lean into the dry season, acknowledge it for what it is, and give yourself grace. Next, step 2, replenish. Pour into yourself based on what you need, what awakens something in you. And if you're not sure what this is, experiment, play, follow your curiosity. And finally, step 3, create. Make a plan to set aside regular creative time and show up for it. Show up for yourself. Show up for your art. And do not make it dependent on whether or not you feel inspired or feel like you have something to say. Stop waiting for inspiration. Instead, make it part of your identity, like part of your routine, your habits. It's just what you do because it's just who you are. And when you start to slide, just go back to step 1, acknowledge it, be honest about it, but don't get stuck there. Don't make it mean something about you. This is normal and okay, and you're human, and this is the creative journey, right? So just come back home and try again. You can always come back home and try again. And let me just say that I know it's hard. I know. I've found myself in this place over and over again. And that's why I've come to refine this process for myself. And that's how I know it works. So make it work for you. Refine it for yourself and those unique things that light you up. Because resistance, it's strong and it's not going anywhere. But you are stronger. Yes, we are human, so we will inevitably have moments of weakness when we slip and we slide and we fall. But your strength comes through in the getting back up. When you get back up and you try again and you keep going and you persevere. And I know this is who you are because here you are showing up for yourself and your voice and your musical, creative, artistic gifts. You haven't given up on your art yet, and you won't, because it always comes back, and you know that by now. So right now, in this moment, before you lies an opportunity to recommit. Recommit to your art, your voice, your creativity, and the song in your heart. And I'll be right here with you, cheering you on. I'll see you next week. Thanks for listening, friend. If this episode moved you or inspired you in some way, would you please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or share this episode with someone who's been praying for a vocal breakthrough? Until next time, keep nurturing that song in your heart. Lots of love.